All right, hey guys, Jono from Fitness Education Online. Just want to do a live video on a bit of a story about some of my learning experiences on how I sort of went from running a shitty boot camp to running a really popular boot camp, and just some of the things that I've learned along the way, because I think that any single person in the world can implement these things, and if they implement these things, they'll see success skyrocket. All right, so I'll get started in a couple seconds. I'll give people a couple seconds to jump on and that sort of thing. But usual deal, what I ask anyone to do with any of my videos, if you're watching this, just hit the like button. Okay, whether you're watching it now live, hit like. Even if you're watching it later on the replay, hit like as well. Couple reasons why I ask this. Number one, I want to sort of see who's in here and who's watching it and all that sort of thing. But also it helps with my interaction. All right, I want as many people to see this video as possible. So the more people that like it, the more other people are going to see it as well. So hit like a couple times if you want. Also, a comment's cool. Comments are actually better than than likes and that. So feel free to say hello in the comment box, or if something resonates with you along, just type yeah, I agree, or something like that. Any questions, question them there as well. Okay, but anyways, let's get into it. So my sort of story really quick, you've probably heard it before, but to summarize it really quick, I started off working at a franchise, the bootcamp franchise, and I sucked, right? I ran a really bad boot camp. I had maybe 20, 25 people down there, and half of them wouldn't come back, right? I'd run a 12-week challenge, and by the end of the 12 weeks, half of them stopped coming anyway, and even less of them would sign back up for the next 12-week challenge. And you got ranked via retention at this franchise, right? There were 75 different locations across Australia, New Zealand, and USA, and I was ranked 75th. Okay, so not ideal, all right? But I went to this this seminar, and I heard this philosophy, and I implemented that philosophy, and I dead set, no word of a lie, went from 25 clients to 100 clients in less than a year, and it just skyrocketed. Like, it went from 12-week challenge from having 25 clients to having 50 clients to having 75 clients to having 100 clients, and my retention rate skyrocketed as well. It went from, whatever it was, 40% to 60% to 80% to 100%. I got to a point where every single person came back to the next round, and I'm talking like 60, 70 people, and all came back just by this one philosophy here. Okay, so I'll go into this philosophy, but I'll just sort of share my mindset beforehand. Okay, so before I went to this seminar, this is what I thought. Okay, I was running this boot camp with 20, 25 people, and most of them weren't coming back for the next round anyway, but I thought I was pretty good, right? I'm a qualified exercise physiologist. I've been in the industry for a while. My boot camp's all right. It wasn't my fault. It was like the area that I'm in. It was like a pretty low socioeconomic area. No one had the funds, there was a gym down the road that opened up for like $5 a week. I can't compete with that, right? Why are they going to come to me if, there's a gym down the road that's $5? Can't compete with that, all right? Plus, you get the other things. There's always clients that are pregnant, clients that move out of state for work, that sort of thing. The franchise wasn't ideal. I wasn't getting as much leads as I wanted, wasn't getting as much support as I wanted. I was training at a school, right? I couldn't bring a whole heap of equipment down. I couldn't leave equipment there. So what could I do, right? It's not my fault that it was like that. And so that was sort of my mindset. And that sort of makes sense, right? We've all sort of been there before. Comment below and let me know if you've sort of been there before. Anyway, went to this personal development seminar, and they ran through this philosophy, the line, okay? And they're basically like, successful people play above the line, and they're successful at whatever they do. Unsuccessful people play below the line, and they're usually unsuccessful. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, hey, what am I doing? Am I on the top? Am I on the bottom? How can I get to the top, And he basically broke it down. He's like, look, people that play below the line, what they do is whatever situation they're in, it was business, so we'll use business as an example. It's like in business, what they do is they're in denial, right? They think they're good at what they do, and the reason they're not as successful as they want to be is because they're blaming someone or something else, and they're coming up with excuses. So he used a business situation. He's like, business owners or people in business or anyone that's even working for anyone, they'll say things like, hey, it's not my fault, it's my client's fault. Hey, it's not my fault, it's my prospect's fault. Hey, it's not my fault, it's my boss's fault. Hey, it's not my fault, it's the company's fault. Hey, it's the area I'm in. And I went through that, and I'm just like, shit, that's exactly my mindset, right? I'm that guy that's playing below the line and just blaming everyone else and coming up with all these excuses. I'm like, I'm the definition of someone playing below the line. And I was like, shit, what do these guys playing above the line do? What can I do to get above the line? And the speaker was basically like, hey, people that play above the line, they focus on three things: accountability, ownership, and responsibility. They take responsibility for, wherever they're at the moment, right, is no one's fault but their own. So go back to me when I was playing below the line. Basically, I was blaming everyone else, but the most important person, me. Right? So he's like, if you want to be successful, you've got to take responsibility and say, hey, the reason you're in this situation is no one's fault but your own, right? Take responsibility, take accountability, and do something about it, right? And I thought about it and I was like, hey, he's spot on, right? And you had to do an exercise where you wrote things down, and basically I just switched that whole thing. So let's use, for example, I blame the school, right? Oh, it's the school's fault. I can't keep equipment, bring equipment down there. Shit, why don't I do something myself and be awesome at body weight training and portable stuff like suspension trainers, kettlebells, and med balls? Why don't I just become awesome at that, and then that other thing isn't a problem, right? Hey, I'm blaming my franchise because they're not getting me enough leads. Shit, why don't I learn how to market myself so I don't freaking need to rely on them, right? What's another one? The $5 gym. There's a $5 gym down the road. Shit, if I'm providing the same service as this $5 gym, go to that $5 gym. Why would you go to me if I'm providing the same service? I need to provide better service than that, right? And I sort of took it to the next level. I'm pretty driven. I'm pretty motivated. What I did at the time is I wrote down a list of every single person that didn't come back to boot camp, and I listed the reason why and what I could have done to have made them come back. Okay, and I go next level, like, just for example, like the pregnancy one. People are going to get pregnant, but at the time I didn't even have pre-postnatal qualifications, right? Who knows? Hey, shit, why don't I go out and get those qualifications, work with some people in that situation? Maybe that person could have continued if I knew what I was doing, right? Let's use the move out of state, because this is a big one for me, right? And people sort of think I'm crazy with this philosophy. There was someone that, they moved out of state for work and they couldn't go to boot camp. A lot of people might be like, wow, there's nothing you could do. No, fuck that. My opinion on that is there is something I could do. I should have made that boot camp the most fun thing in that person's life. I should have made my group of boot camp people the most fun people in the world, where everyone's the best friends you can possibly have. So that person will turn down a job to go overseas just to stay at my boot camp. Okay, that's my philosophy. I believe I can do it. I understand that's pretty extreme and not everyone might have that, but that's the level that I want to go at. Okay, and let's just use that as an example. Even if you don't believe that can happen, I believe 100% I can do that, right? But let's say, for example, you don't believe that. If I go into every single client with that mindset where I'm going to, give these people the best service and get this group to bond so well that they're going to turn down a more expensive and better job overseas just to hang out at my boot camp, you can imagine how people with excuses not that high would want to stay. Right? Imagine the hundreds of clients that, may have an opportunity to get a different job or, slightly more expensive job in the same sort of area, but it would mean they'll miss boot camp. They may just turn it down because, I give that service or whatever. Okay. But anyways, just to summarize that, just comment below and let me know if that sort of makes sense, right? If it all comes down to you. Right? And this is what I sort of recommend. If you're in a situation at the moment and you're not where you want to be boot camp wise, say you're running a boot camp or a studio or PT or whatever it is, and you don't have as many clients as you want, what I recommend doing is write down a bit of a list. Write down, okay, hey, why aren't I, why don't I have these clients? What am I missing out on? Write down a list of all the dot points. If there's any dot point there that's blaming someone else but yourself, scrap it, cross a line through it, okay? Because blame it all you want, it might make you feel better, but you're not going to get more successful if you do that, okay? So write down a list of the reasons why you're not where you want to be. If there's any reason in there where you're blaming someone else or coming up with an excuse, cross it out of there. So what you should have left is just a list of things that you can do better yourself, okay, to improve your boot camp and that sort of thing. And then just pick those things one by one, right? And the way I sort of, coming on to this sort of thing as well, like, I look at because this can be a bit confronting, because what you basically need to do is accept that, you may have fucked up a couple of times or made mistakes sometimes, that there's shit that you could have done to get people here that you didn't do. And that can be confronting sometimes. But the way I sort of look at it is it's just a learning experience, right? Okay, cool. Hey, I lost that client because my people skills weren't good. What can I do to improve my people skills? Hey, I've lost that client because, I'm not that good with kettlebells. What can I do to, improve kettlebells or whatever it may be? Okay, so that's my sort of suggestion there. And if you need some help doing some things to grow your bootcamp or whatever, we've got a bazillion courses on all different things. I recommend you do one of those. Okay, I'll put the link below anyway. Anyways, that's today's video. If you liked it, just hit like. Even if you're watching it later, hit like as well, because I want to know who watched it and it helps with interaction. Any questions on that sort of thing, just, comment them below and I'll get through it. But just the quick summary, just you know, there's above the line, there's the below the line, okay? If you're playing below the line, that's when you're blaming people, you're coming up with excuses, and you're in denial, and you're not going to get successful if you do that. Playing above the line, basically what you do there is take ownership, take accountability, take responsibility. Everything is your responsibility to take control of your life, because that's what it is really, right? Why does someone else want to help you have the best life? They really don't, right? It's up to you to, you know, do what you can to ensure it. All right. Anyways, have a good day, and we'll chat soon.